Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's happening? It's your boy E Buck. Yeah, I'm back, and I am here along with Hugh Lee, the sports guru. Do that thing we call Gametime Audible. What's going on, Hugh?
Was good, man.
Yeah, I seen you trying to steal the show last week. I saw you.
No.
I got to catch you, dirty mother. But nah, all jokes aside, y'all, Hugh, he did a good job last week. Thanks for the
Appreciate
input, letting us know that as well. I do have a few things to take issue with, though. We'll talk about it as the show goes on.
it. Oh yeah.
Missions and things, and some things that I need to get on my brother
You
about.
called a few things out, and I didn't have faith, but yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah. Save it for when we get there, okay? Yep, I got you. All right. Shout out to Mara Me in the building, showing some Bigo love right there. But yeah, I definitely got you, Mara Me. I see the message. And also got to shout out the one and only Road to Starter. What up, bro? What's
Hey,
happening?
bro, always showing love. Appreciate you.
Good to see you. Shout out to my cousin as well. I see you, cuz. What's going on? Thanks for coming through for a minute. No, sports ain't really your thing, but we appreciate the support all the same. That's how y'all do it, fam. Look out for your boy. But anyway, we are here ready to talk some sports this evening. A lot of sports to get into. A lot of things happened in the last week. And of course, I'm going to have to address a couple things that was talked about last week and maybe one or two that wasn't. You know, you leave him to do the show, you know he's gonna talk mainly football. But
Oh
that
yeah,
being said,
exactly.
what we starting to show off with this week, Hugh?
Man, I want to go with your. We're gonna go with your lady, Huskies, man. That injury and what it.
Nah. See, here's
Oh
problem
no,
one.
yo,
Okay,
we got to talk about. We got
Here-
to talk about.
no. Now here's the thing. Y'all know I've been letting Hugh plan the show out these last several weeks. He is the program director of the show now. But today I got to take issue with him. I don't know why he does this, and I'm tired of it. Hugh, you know you like all the sports. We know you like all the sports. We know you do. But you
Man,
know
we
what
got.
your favorite is. You know what you like to talk about the most. I don't know why you have not taken advantage of being the show director and then straight get into the football off rip, man. Why don't you
I
do
usually
that?
like to say the. I usually like to say the best for last, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, you like to save it for last because you like to talk about it the most. But not today, sir. I'm going to force you to go in. We talk the NFL first. So wherever your
Oh
notes
man,
at the
crazy.
bottom, I need
I
you to
thought we
move
was,
to the top, and then we'll go from there. So
man.
yeah, I am taking executive producer rights on the show this week. We're gonna talk
Man, you really
football
gonna
for
go
the
there?
day. And you just got to stay woke for the rest of the show after that. He
You
ain't
already know that was designed every time when I did it like that. But if you want, man, yeah, let's go. We could go into the
we
football. I'm cool with
talking
that.
NFL first, okay? We're gonna do it a little different this week. And it's a couple things I need to talk about when we get there because yeah, we need to talk about it. Shout out to my boy King Self in the building. What up, my king? What's happening? But yeah, we will check back in. You know how we do it. We got to share the lives and see what's up, and everybody got to get their drinks and their snacks and stuff together. So yeah, let's go ahead and set that up. And when we come back to the show, we talking football straight up, no chaser, off
I
the
love
rip,
it.
game time audible. Hugh Lee,
Yes, sir.
EB. I say football first this week. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Eric Buckner here. You know Miss EB, Young Easy, Eric Buck, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm here to kick it with y'all about this little podcast I've been doing. You know, I talk trending topics. I talk about the stuff we as people need to talk about. I talk about some things actually that people kind of want to shy away from because we got to have these discussions, folks. That's how we get better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, you know, I do it Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. You can check it out on Facebook, on YouTube. You know, it's a good show. I say get into it. Yeah, you want to know the name of the show? You said, hold on. Hey, you, get off my lawn. Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Unscripted talk on police reform and race relations.
And now, Behind the Blue Curtain's law enforcement liaison, retired 32-year Chicago police veteran, homicide detective, former commander, sergeant, grant writer, lecturer, and adjunct professor, Joseph J. Mosley.
Behind the Blue Curtain's Minister of Common Sense, former 12-year Fort Worth police officer, educator, voice of reason, an unapologetic practitioner of sound judgment, the young scholar, LaRonda Young.
Behind the Blue Curtain's co-host, fact checker, and investigative journalist Isidoro Rodriguez.
What up, y'all? We back. Gametime Audible. It's your boy E. Beezy back at the small hiatus with your boy Hugh Lee, the sports guru, ready to do our show as we do it with a little slight twist this week. Because I done threw my mans off by saying, yeah, let's get you your strong suit first. I want you to play the spades first this week in hand. Don't be saving them for the Indians. Run it right now. NFL, go!
Man, we're going to go into the game of the week, man. New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills, man. I want your input on
the damn game of the week. You's a lie. That's the game of the week in your eyes. That was not the game of last week. But go ahead, go there. And then I'm going to tell you
what was the game of the week to you, I don't know, man. I ain't seen nothing that had as much implications as that game.
Okay, well, why you go there, Hugh? What you think? Why you say so?
I definitely thought so because of everything they had on the line, man. You know, we've all heard, and I even was complaining about it last season, but Cam was pretty much the advocate of my complaints. Right now, England's on a hot streak, man. They won 6 games in a row after this last win on Monday night. The weather was crazy, and it's supposed to be to Buffalo's advantage, but you know, New England is a cold weather team themselves. I just was surprised the way the outcome came. I know the elements played a lot in there. You know, it's windy and snowing. But them boys,
I know you're supposed to play the football no matter what weather it is, but no, that was not a good weather for anything.
No, not at all. I just like the fact that the way they executed, though. The funny part was that, you know, and we always talk about this. Mac Jones ain't gonna do anything to make them lose, and he didn't have to do much, man. Pretty much, he didn't do a damn thing, but just deal with your boy Ryan Tannehill does, which he got paid so well to do.
He threw 3 passes, bro.
3 passes was insane. He pitched that ball off to Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, man. Definitely happy to see that two-headed monster is really starting to put fear in the teams, man, because they couldn't stop that run, man. And yeah, I understand my man's White was playing, man, but still, that ain't no excuse, man. The next man up, you know, in any sport. And I just felt like it was a weird game, but I feel like, and I'm not gonna lie to you, with them elements, when Damian Harris ran that 68-yarder and they got the 2-point conversion, I was like, shit, this game over with as we speak right now.
I mean, the bottom line was, you see what the weather was like, Hugh. What the hell was Buffalo doing? You gotta hold on, y'all. You got to be better prepared than that.
Why don't they pass the ball like that?
Have a plan B, all that good stuff. Buffalo did not have a plan B. You can't not have a plan B when you play Belichick, because more than likely, as usual, he will take away the best thing that you do. But last week he didn't have to do that. The weather took care of that. All he had to do was do what he normally do after that. That's why they won.
You definitely got to give that man candidates a coach of the year, man, because at one point they were 2-4, and everybody was like, you see, Belichick ain't what he was without Brady, until the point where they're like, damn, this is the best coaching job he's ever done.
Sadly, you already know when all said and done, he's not gonna get coach of the year, unless, of course, he basically finish out the season with all wins. At which case, you got to give it to him at that point. But
absolutely,
people, there's a certain amount of we expect that when you Belichick, just like we expect that when it's LeBron or somewhere along them lines, It's
a gift and a curse with his coaching. Yeah, I agree with that, man. It was really an intriguing game, man, because after the game, we know the final score 14-10. Did you hear what happened, man, with Sean McDermott, man?
No, what happened?
He got a little salty in the press conference, man, and he basically took a few jabs and said, well, if we had the ball that close and was able to score and we had the possession like they did, I would like our chances too. But it was like you guys constantly had the ball damn near close to the red zone. Y'all had like the ball in easy scoring position most times in a comfortable rate. New England had to take it down the field several times, man, and they did. But when Sean McDermott started putting the statistics in, and then he started saying, things about how, that was a situation we were in and we had to deal with it. But, I still liked our chances, but I still feel like under circumstances, this is the reason why we performed this way. Basically, not giving credit where credit was due and saying that Belichick outcoached him, man. And he needed just a little bulletin board material in the first place, even before he started, making them look and pay attention to it, man. And one thing I wanted to mention too, last year they humiliated New England in New England. They just kept the pedal on the gas, man. They kept their foot on their throat, and they didn't let up, man.
In fact, they beat them both times last year they played. But the bottom line is they still get one more chance at them later on in the year. So you feel that way about it. Let's see what you do next time around.
Yeah, because I really like the chances of them going back to Foxborough.
But bottom line is, Hugh says that was the game of the week. Again, I disagree. Let's talk about what I really felt was the game of the week. And I want to hear your thoughts on it first, and I'll tell you why. That would be Ravens and Steelers. That was the game of the week as far as I was concerned. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
I looked at that game and I thought that it was going to be more. You know what? I actually overlooked the Steelers in that game. But they always have a brutal battle, no matter what the records are. To you, right, man? That's a rivalry that usually sets the standards. It sets the tone. I just didn't think that it really set the tone this time. And what surprising me was because I'm thinking, man, dang, I know that Lamar Jackson wasn't playing well the last few weeks. Now add this week onto it. I understand that he has to do more. The run game, they got a lot of injuries. The O-line's kind of banged up. They got a couple of veterans over there like Villanueva. And, he's been asked to do more. But my problem is right now with Lamar Jackson is he's basically acting like he's not used to the blitz. He panics, man. He has his worst passer ratings, and he makes the worst decisions ever when he's being pressured, man. And I just feel like now at this point in his career, he should be able to do a little better to avoid the blitz, man. He might not be able to do a bubble screen or whatnot all the time, but he has to pick up the blitzes better, and he has to be more accurate down the field. And they force him into a lot of picks, man. And he looks normal, man. He don't look like he was before the flashy Lamar Jackson, who we was comparing to Michael Vick. He's starting to look like a poor man Michael Vick. We're going to say a Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, I said that,
Hold on. Because that was so shady. That was slim shady, okay? All right, now, first of all, I love you, bro, but you got it all wrong. You're looking at this thing from the wrong angle. First of all, let's go back to the beginning of the season. When we looked at it, remember the season before it started, what did we say was going to be the hardest division in all of NFL?
Oh, for sure. They battle every time.
I mean, we had the Browns looking real good on paper, the Bengals up and coming. We had both the Steelers looking like they was about to do some stuff again. And, of course, we had Baltimore. Now, here's the thing. The reason why I say that was a key game, because remember, AFC kind of wide open right now if you really look at it.
Yeah,
there
it really is.
One team where you definitely say, oh, they got it. The closest team to it, truthfully, may be New England. But when all is said and done, I'm really looking forward to see what happens when the playoffs comes and the AFC got to figure all that mess out. But in the meanwhile, we did say that was going to be the toughest division, especially when they played one another. Now, both of these franchises are on the verge of either greatness or the end. When you look at Pittsburgh, okay, Pittsburgh right now, they're in a situation where they rarely find themselves in. Remember, we had this man that coaches them, Mike Tomlin, had winning season after winning season. In fact, has the best overall record in the NFL in the last decade. Has not had a losing season in that decade. No coach in the NFL can lay claim to that with that long a track record. That being said, he's done it without Ben, but he's mostly done it with Ben. The problem has not always been Ben in terms of what's wrong with them right now. But at the moment, it does seem to dwell on the fact that, yeah, Ben is pretty much saying, look, I got this much left, and this is what I got with it. Remember, once upon a time, when Ben would get blitzed, you wasn't as worried about it because Ben could fight off people. Hell, do about 6'6", 260. But now that he's getting older, it's like, okay, I guess I have to take the sack. There is no scramblability. There's none of that. Then it's like, okay, I can still drill that in there. Now it's like, I could try. So there's that. Now, on the other hand, we got Lamar. Hold on. We got our buddy Will checking in. Shout out to Will Muhammad. The Pats is the sleeper. I was mad that we didn't take Mac Jones. As the Lions, that's a whole nother story. What goes up must come down. Them letting AB go is coming back to fight them. Talking about the Patriots, I got to disagree on that one.
No, about the Steelers with the whole thing when they let AB go and the whole situation.
Steelers let him go, that's another story.
Yeah.
I think letting him and Bell go has come back up to haunt them, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he said you're right, Hugh. Yeah, but my thing is, now the Ravens is another story. First of all, you're saying that the problem is that Lamar does not look good to blitz. He's not reading it correctly, what have you. Understand, here's the problem that I have. Lamar is not doing what got him to the dance. That's why I say I don't think he's 100% right now, Hugh. I don't think that brother is healthy. Because in the ideal world, when things come and it's time to push the shove, Lamar Jackson can do the one thing that no other quarterback in the NFL can do like him.
Absolutely.
And that's scramble and utilize them legs. Because when it's all said and done, even the great Michael Vick himself says that dude's better than me when it comes to that, point blank. And that's high praise from one of the best scramblers we ever saw. But that's my thing. Times when he should be scrambling and basically trying to make it happen with his legs, instead he's trying to prove to everybody, I'm not a wide receiver. I'm not a running back. I can throw the ball in the pocket and whatnot. You ain't got to prove that to me, Lamar. Your job is to win games. And in the end, they have stylized the offense to fit your needs. So when it comes that time, damn that. Get the scrambling, homie. Use them legs. It's the reason why you're about to be the first person ever to rush for 1,000 yards as a quarterback 3 years in a row.
Yep.
Who got you there, bro? Do Lamar. Stop trying to be Steve Young and all these other quarterbacks that could scramble but could still stay in the pocket. That ain't you. Do you. That's where they going wrong.
Yeah, that's a huge issue, man. But then I notice that line hasn't been 100%, and I think that
More reason that I say that's what you need to do.
yeah, definitely don't help. His running backs been banged up too, man. They've been playing and getting people off the streets.
They want him to be an NFL QB. They haven't been good at breaking our boys down from what they do best. Exactly. And that's using their feet. Exactly, Will. My point exactly. In the end, like I said, you know what Lamar can do. The problem is that when it comes down to it, if he's healthy, ain't nothing you can do. He's still gonna do. Utilize what got you there. What up, Rachel Fox? Shout out to you, Ashley, Candace, and everybody else checking in on Bigo. Go ahead, Hugh.
I was surprised Ben actually was able to pull that out or had that little in him too, man. They had that little lease left in him because Chase Claypool been really letting him down, man. He's been a big disappointment. I think that he got all his roses or his flowers, whatever you want to call it. He got all his praises when Juju was still playing, and they was taking all the double coverages and having all the gritty and grunt work going on with him, man. It's just right now he got the stage. He had to step up, and he didn't, man. Yo, what's up, G man? How you doing?
What's going on, G? Ben still got fire left in him. Yeah, like I said, I still think he has a desire to play. And I think he's calling quits a little too soon myself. I say he got another year in him, truthfully, from what I saw. The thing is, you got to remember, Pittsburgh playing without some key weapons, in particular Juju Schuster-Smith. You need that dude. He's the number one receiver. He one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL. Of course, you're going to struggle a little bit without him. Just like on the other side for the Ravens. Remember, the Ravens don't even have a third of the running game that they should have right now.
Not at all.
3 running backs out for the season with ACL. That's why I'm wondering, maybe that's part of why Lamar is hesitant, because he knows that that is the case. But imagine if they had that full complement of running game that they were supposed to have, the Ravens would be right there right now.
Yeah, because J.K. Dobbins was really making an impact, man. He was playing good, man. It was just a shame that they got hurt, man. He got hurt early, too. Was it like in preseason or something? They lost a lot of guys, and guys was getting hurt in, like, training camp. And that's making me starting to wonder, man. Last year, with the COVID and all happened, and they didn't really do no training camp, and a lot of them guys wasn't really as banged up, man. It's like, should they try that route, or should they continue to go to OTAs, or better yet, put all of these preseason games together? Because that's how a lot of guys get hurt too, man, doing all these preseason games.
True. And keep in mind, we only had 2 preseason games, really.
Yeah.
And we still got issues. So figure that out. But yeah, okay, hold on. Man, I just got done playing Madden. These young guys are losing. The guy winning 14-10. I picked him off and he quit. He pumped out like that, Will. Yeah, some of them kids, they don't like to lose, Will. They'll quit on you in a minute. I remember when I was living that online life, it'd be like we rolling out and
after that pick, he already knew. He knew it was over after that pick.
He went to run and tell his mama. But yeah, I get that. Okay, what else you got, Hugh?
I want to touch into that game too, and you mentioned it too, man. We're going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and game with the Los Angeles Chargers. That was, to me, going to be the battle of the young guns, but just was a little disappointed because it was like one of the first games of the first plays of the game that Joe Burrow got hurt, man, and you could tell he wasn't the same after that, man.
Yeah, like I said, I would say probably a fourth of all the quarterbacks in the NFL actually dealing with some serious injuries. Some that in the ideal world, if the season was longer, you might actually sit them down for a couple games. I mean, clearly we see people like Burrow get hurt. I promise you, Dak is still hurt. That's part of what's going on with them. They say that Matthew Stafford, luckily he got that week off last week playing them sorry Jaguars. Remember what I said? Remember what I said about the coach. But anyway, hold on. Fellas checking in. The Bengals got pimp slapped 10 times over. I wouldn't go as far as that, Greg, but yeah, they definitely gave that game away. there was a point in time when it looked like that's gonna come back on the Chargers and take over completely. But yeah,
turnovers killed them, man. At the end.
All right, Will saying, man, the Chargers are another sleeper, bro. They're gonna spoil a lot of teams for this, and I agree with that. I do agree with that. The Chargers are when they playing up to snuff, they definitely one of the better teams in the AFC. At least I give them that, and I definitely like the quarterback, man. That dude, people is regretting not taking him. I promise you that. 6'6", 240, rifle for an arm, makes good decisions with the football. I like him, man. I like him a lot.
Oh, he said the Jaguars were sorry when they beat the Bills.
I need to be a guest, bro. I'm feeling bad. I hear you, Will. I hear you. The Bills got straight ran over. No pun intended, maybe. But yeah, they got ran over twice by the Patriots and the weather. Like I said, that was probably one of the worst weather play games I've seen in years.
Yeah, because that snow was coming down. Then it was like 60-mile-per-hour winds.
It was real ugly out there. It really was. I felt bad for him. Yeah, but no, like I said, I definitely am looking forward to seeing those two young men play together for years to come. Remember, both of them under 25, relatively good health. You know, they pretty much do everything you can ask for in terms of a quarterback. So I say we see that matchup for at least the next 10 years.
You heard what Will said?
The Bills are who we thought they was. Yeah, starting to look that way, ain't it? But yeah, they definitely got a good challenge this week playing the Buccaneers, but we'll get to that. But yeah, what else you got?
How do you feel too? When you were saying like a lot of the players are being banged up, man. One of them, for instance, man, and I can't even really defend this guy because he's been making poor decisions, man. But then I think Baker Mayfield, man, he's been banged up a lot. And what's been upsetting me with him is he's been having injury after injury. And why would you pay Case Keenum all that money and you don't feel like that he's a worthy person who could come in and fill that void? Because right now, I wouldn't be playing with Baker Mayfield. He doesn't look so good.
See, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. Remember, this is that year for Baker Mayfield. After this year, they determine whether or not to give him the franchise money. Okay, so you got to see what you got with him. You pay Case Keenum that money because in the end, if Baker Mayfield is not the guy, then you at least got somebody to transfer until you get the next good quarterback. That's why you hold on to Case Keenum like that. But right now, we got to determine whether or not Baker going to be worth that 30, 40, 45 million. Remember, we got him doing that. And then, of course, we got Lamar, which is part of another reason why I think he's doing some of the stuff that he's doing over there in Baltimore, trying to prove that, yeah, I can be the long-term quarterback on this team.
That long-term solution.
Yeah, I deserve that Mahomes type money.
We're going to go off into something.
That's who they said he was. He is trash. I wouldn't go as far as that, Will, but he's not the Messiah that they basically portray him to be. I would give him that.
He definitely not worth a first-round draft pick, I say. I agree with you. I don't think
not a number one pick. I definitely agree with that. But if you look at the last few years of number one picks, who really has been, Hugh? I mean, name the last number one pick that has done significant in the league in the last 10 years. I mean, think about people like Andrew Luck, no longer in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Think about Jared Goff. Should I say more?
No.
Who's the number one pick in this year's draft? See how long
man,
you think about
be a pair. I think my man's leapfrog. What's his name? Kevon Thibodeau. I think that the Thibodeau. I'm sorry. It's gonna be I think Aiden Hutchinson, man.
Well, see, you already jumped a whole nother subject. Can we deal with that when we get to the college, please, sir?
Yeah.
Talk about that. And yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't even pick Baker Mayfield in the first round myself, considering his size and everything. He would have been the good second-round pick. Remember, they had this number one second-round pick that year. I would have picked him in, and he probably would have been available, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true, Greg.
Jared Goff has no offensive line. I disagree with that.
Well, why he be running for his life all the time, man?
Jared Goff ain't running for his life all the time. He be having time in the pocket. No, his offensive line ain't as good as it was supposed to be this year due to injuries and whatnot. Remember, they got Ragnar out for the season, and Tyler Decker just now getting back healthy, so that's part of what that is. But even still, for what they had left, they got a decent offensive line for a change. Jared Goff got a whole bunch of other problems with that team. For example, who you got to throw to if you Jared Goff?
I was surprised they didn't make that issue known too. Like if you got him over there and you got him in that whole switcheroo with Matt Stafford going to LA and him coming to Detroit, they definitely should have got him some weapons, man. Some of the guys who they had to, I think Tyrell Williams still injured, man. That dude was injury prone when he was with the Raiders. He played well with the Los Angeles Chargers, but when he came over to the Raiders, the guy couldn't stay healthy, man. And then the Perriman kid, man, he's been back and forth in the league, more of a journeyman wide receiver. So, yeah, man, they should have, before they decided on those guys, they should have looked through the draft or at least free agency.
Okay, now see, here you go, jumping the gun. We going to get there, Will. We're not ready to talk about college just yet. Jared Goff got breaks for feet, man. He can't even move good in the pocket when the blocking is okay. And again, not only is he hurt, you can tell these last few weeks that he is not 100%, but also now apparently he has the flu, so who knows how that's going to affect him on Sunday. But according to the report, several of the Lions have the flu this week, so that don't help nothing.
We're going to go over to them now, man. Speaking of, that was just a smooth transition, man. The winless Lions is no longer winless no more, man. Do you think it's more to blame on the Minnesota Vikings defense or the Lions
Yes.
took the game from?
Yes, the first part. Because by rights, they should have lost that game like they lost all the other ones. Because remember, at one point, they were ahead in that game 20-9. 20-9. And then won by that final score. Because in the end, the Lions do what they always do. They get close to the mountain. They look on the other side, then they run back down the mountain the other way. It just so happened that Minnesota did not do just enough to where we had a chance to win that game, and for once, we actually pulled it off. I mean, bricks for feet. It don't matter. Either way, the dude can't run. Bottom line. Yeah, Greg, he agrees. Defense is what did it. H-Town morning against King Solomon. What's going on, y'all? Shout out to my fellas here in the big
Why would they play the back end of, they didn't even play. They were looking for them to go to the back end, and they wasn't playing up close, man. They didn't have guys up close to the actual goal line. And that's what killed them, man, because when I seen that, he had all the time in the world to throw that ball for him to turn around and catch it, man. And, I think that it just as bad as they were saying with the Bears coach, Nagy, Nagy was going to lose his job. And hell, man, after that, man, I don't know if Mike Zimmer is going to have a job, man, when, it's said and done.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Neither one of them going to survive. We know this. They done. Look who's here. Good evening, bros. What up, H2? What's happening? What's going on, family? Good to see you.
I see you guys, Greg. Talking about did we go to the parade after they won that game?
All right, Will. Thanks for checking in. We appreciate you, bro. Thanks for
all right, man. Appreciate the love, Will.
All right, you have a good one, my guy.
I'm doing this on the show soon.
Yep. Remember these moments, my friend. Remember these moments. They come in handy. But look here. Since we got H2 in the house, we got to talk about that team known as the Dallas Cowboys. What was your thoughts on them last week, Hugh?
They've been struggling a lot, man. I think right now, and I've been looking at this, man, a lot of it has to do with them. I just don't feel like Ezekiel Elliott got a lot in the tank, man. He went from here, like up the top, and then he just started going down that, Steve Mountain, man. And I think now that they shouldn't give him the first team reps, man. They should definitely let Pollard, man, carry the load because he's been doing a good job, man. Not saying if Zeke has lost it all, but he lost a step or two. But yeah, man, they definitely need to start, putting Pollard into the offense a little bit more, man, because Zeke just seems like he get the empty holes, man, and they block for him real good as if he ain't going nowhere.
Well, and listening to all the pundits and the media peoples and whatnot, they would agree with that assessment too. All right. Hey, Willie Buckner, tune in. What's going on, family? Good to see you, my friend. Nope, says H2. But yeah, another thing is, as Rose said, we still them boys. Here's the problem. We got a lot of things not being properly addressed there in Dallas. First of all, I need Jerry Jones to shut the hell up. I understand that you are the owner and the GM and the extra head coach and the official spokesperson for the team and whatnot. You be doing too much. Sit down, Gerald. Let your team do what they need to do. You see, Dan Snyder had to learn that over the years over there with the football team. Follow his example. Maybe y'all might get a little farther. Second of all, okay, Dak, we know you hurt, bro. You need to start letting them know that you hurt, okay? I understand you want to prove that you are worth the money that you are being paid, but clearly you are playing hurt. If don't nobody else see that, I do. You are not 100%. I give you about 70. I give Ezekiel about 65 to 70. He's playing hurt. I don't know what's going on with your boy Cooper. He don't seem to be running the routes the way that he once was. That's throwing him off a little bit. Lamb, we need to actually get him the ball a little more. They're not throwing
a lot more, man. That dude's been balling, haven't he? He really been looking good, man. He catching not only deep balls, but he do good on the yard after catch, man. He catch the ball and juke a person to be gone like 10, 15 yards. He definitely been one of the bright points or the stars of that Dallas Cowboy team.
And one thing I will say is usually when Cowboys are good, they are utilizing the tight end in both the running game and the passing game. I ain't seen enough of that from Dallas. So if you don't got a good enough tight end, that's definitely what I would be drafting if I was you in the first round next year. And obviously the offensive line ain't as quite as dominant as it has been in years past. Due to
injury online.
La'el Collins, they definitely miss his overall presence because he ain't quite what he need to be. Now that defense in Dallas is actually looking real good. Parsons is the real deal. When all is said and done, that is your rookie of the year. Mika Parsons, out about it. And then, of course, Diggs, that speaks for itself. He ain't never going to do that. That's what's hurting us. Yeah, talking about Dak, I agree.
Yeah, that's Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones. He'll never get out his own way.
CD is definitely the heart and soul of that team. No, actually, I would say Parsons right now is the heart and soul of the Dallas team. He is running that defense like he a 10-year vet. He ain't nothing but a rookie.
Yeah, man. He when he came out, man, he knew it. He said, "Man, we're gonna have some fun, man. Let's get it." He was already prepared to, be that force on the team. But I feel with G coming from as far as he probably the heart and soul on the offense, but definitely on Parsons. He was glue to keep that team together.
Well, I agree to disagree with you, H2. Because like I said, Mika Parsons, he is a game changer, no doubt about it. But when all is said and done last week, the Cowboys are supposed to win that game. They're supposed to win by more than they did, to be honest. Because right now, the Saints, let's be honest, they don't have no quarterback. Taysom Hill, he is not the answer long-term for quarterback for the Saints.
Oh, he was terrible. Why they paying him all that money, too, man? What?
Because they thought he could do it. And don't get me wrong, at times, he dominated that game. When he basically decided, I'm just going to run it every other time, Dallas didn't have no answer for that. It reminded me of some of them Tim Tebow games back when he was with Denver. He had a couple games like that where him running the ball basically threw off as to what they would do. But that being said, without famous Jameis and definitely without Drew Brees, the Saints ain't quite where they need to be.
Oh, A2 was talking about CD Lamb.
No, I mean CD is not the heart of the team. No, I agree. I agree with that, H2. He is definitely a key component, but no, he is not. But yeah, okay, Hugh, what you got?
He definitely picking up where my man's ain't picking up at though. Cooper, man, because Cooper, man, looking lost out there now, man. You think that's that COVID lag or whatnot?
Cooper just ain't fitting in the way he should be. That's what I get from that. Something is not right there. There's some disconnect.
We gonna get into, if you want to go all out football, but we can go into the NCAA playoff picture now.
Okay, so we done with NFL for this week.
Yeah,
I'm not though. I want to get some brief discussion. Okay,
you
basically, I want
wanna
to
go,
go games out there, and I want you to give me a quick minute on what you thought of that game. All right.
Okay.
First of all, let me throw Eagles Jets at you. What was your thoughts about Gardner Minshew last week?
He played manageable, man. He didn't try to do too much, but man, not taking away from the Jets, that's not really a great team that he basically executed his game plan against. But he had flashes in that game like he did when he was playing in Jacksonville, man. He definitely had flashes.
But bottom line, you think they got a quarterback controversy now in Philly?
Not at all.
So you think it's still Jalen Hurts' job once he gets back healthy?
I think they just need a better backup to put a little bit more smoke under Jalen.
Okay. There's that game. What was your thoughts on Seahawks 49ers?
It was a travesty. I think that Debo being out definitely impacted that game. But then after Debo got hurt and couldn't play, it was a lot of my man's George Kittle, man. Just really felt like I was surprised they didn't execute and used him more, man, when it got down to it, man. I know Elijah Moore is your running back, man, and they like the ground and pound too, man. But it started to get predictable, man. But at the same time, I feel like Seattle had a lot to lose, man. Or they didn't have nothing to lose. So that's why they went all out and did some of them trick, plays and some of the things that they did, man. But they managed the game well, man. To see Tyler Lockett get into the game and, to see all those guys just mesh, DK Metcalf, it was pretty cool, man. I just don't still really know where Russ is right now. But then at the same time, that's where the injuries are starting to take toll because I still don't feel like he 100%. He just did what he had to do to get back so he could be a manager or be more manageable rather than execute his game plan like he used to. Because if he was still 100% or if he was at 100% capacity, I think he'd been doing better as playing other teams.
Is it me or basically on the one hand, the 49ers aren't utilizing Kittle enough and the Kansas City Chiefs aren't utilizing Travis Kelce enough this year? Do you see that?
I definitely agree with you about that, man, because it's like I be looking some days and I be like, I feel like he's throwing the ball too much to Tyreek Hill, man. And Tyreek is good with the droppies now, man. He was dropping the ball a lot. Travis Kelce a few times had to direct Patrick Mahomes and tell him, hey, man, you passing to the wrong person. Or, he'd give him the signal when he's wide open, too. And he's been wide open a lot lately. So, like you said, I'm like, man, if he's trying to put, Tyreek more in a position to succeed or he's so trigger happy with the long ball, then, he don't want to do the intermediate routes no more. But, yeah, it's definitely weird, like you said, to not see Kelce and Kittles get a lot more of the balls where they was getting before in the past.
And speaking of which, who's the tight end in Chicago?
Jimmy Graham and Clement.
Exactly. Why is he not getting the ball, man? Why is he not getting the ball?
I was surprised when he got that touchdown. I was like, damn, Jimmy. I was like, Jimmy Graham still over there?
Yes, after that, I wouldn't even know. I forgot he played for damn Chicago.
I agree.
How do you go from being one of the best three tight ends in football to whatever Chicago got him doing?
And that's crazy because I still feel like you said, too, Graham got a lot left in the tank, man. And it was to the point when Gronk was in his prime, people was like, man, that was his biggest competition. Because how you got the Kittle Kelce thing, it was always you would hear that, Gronk and Graham, comparison. Because he was right there with him, man. And it seemed like when he went to Seattle, that sucked the life out of him, man, for some reason.
All right, so before we wrap it up, I want to ask you about this week's games right quick. Which one of these games you think is the game of the week for this week? Is it Bills Buccaneers, Cowboys Washington, or Ravens Browns?
It's gonna be a close one, man. But I'm gonna go Ravens Browns because right now, what I feel like with the Bucks, when it comes to the Bucks and Bills right now, man, it's something ain't right with the Bills, man. This is the game that they definitely need a bounce back game. It's hard to go on the road to beat the Bucks there, man. Where I think they're still undefeated. I think the Bucks got more weapons too, as far as receivers. The defense, if they can maintain, Josh Allen, which the defense really been doing good rushing and putting pressure on people, man. And the guys are coming back on Sean Murphy Bunting, and you got Carlton Davis back as the corners there. And then I believe, I don't know if you heard this or not, but Richard Sherman is going to be playing, and he's going to fill the role of the banged up and injured safeties now. That's going to be his position for further notice.
True.
Yeah, I just feel like that Cleveland Brown game is going to be intriguing, man.
Well, keep in mind, they had the bye week, so thank you, Miss Mills. Appreciate you. They had the bye week last week, so I'm hoping that let Baker get a little more healthier. But bottom line, he know this is show and prove time for him. In the end, if they manage to get in the playoffs and get to the first or second where they get that bye, that's what's going to make him his money. So I definitely expect him to show up that game. Now, whether he shows out, that's yet to be determined.
Because that game, the first game, was so bad, man. They both need to redeem themselves, man. Jackson and, Mayfield. But, yeah, you're right. He got a lot to prove this game, and I think this game's going to be a really hard-nosed, gritty, old-school style game, kind of like what happened with the Steelers, man. It's always a gritty game with those two teams, and I think that's going to be the one to watch for. I definitely want to see, like you said, Baker Mayfield got a lot to prove, man. This determines or not if he go to the playoffs, man, or get that opportunity. So he's going to have to step it up this game. He's either going to have to come home or go home. But, yeah, I want to see what he proved in this game.
Bottom line, yeah, I told you, H2, I agree that the Ravens made a bad call on that one going for 2 at the end. But in looking at that play a couple times over, it basically was a situation where you had Lamar Jackson scramble out the pocket. Now, he basically kind of tried to drill it into Andrews, and he really didn't have to do that. In the end, there's 2 ways they could have scored at that point. If they all would have followed him, that definitely would have left Andrews wide open because they would have came up, and then that would have been them trying to contain Lamar. All Lamar had to do at that point is just dunk it over to Andrews, easy pickings. Or if they didn't follow him, all he had to do was use them speedy legs of his, and he could have hit the corner in the end zone and made the 2-point conversion himself. So part of that was a bad call. The other part was him not doing it well, and I think that's why you saw his frustration at the end of the game with him throwing the helmet. Him trying to prove things he don't need to prove at this point. Do you, Lamar? Do you? But anyway, we good for a commercial now, Hugh?
Yes, sir.
All right, when we come back, we're going to get into this NCAA thing, and we're going to talk about some of these games this weekend, and the key word is some. Bottom line, Hugh, you mentioned certain games. I'm going off on you flat out. So that being said, we'll be back. Gametime Audible.
Hey, you know what? I agree with you on that, H2. Best kicker in the game right now.
Hold on. They should have had just let Tucker kick. I mean, bottom line, he may not only be the best kicker in the game, he might be the best kicker ever, as far as I'm concerned.
His accuracy is, impeccable.
But yeah, NCAA football, when we get back, Gametime Audible, me, Hugh, y'all, you know what we're doing. We talking checking us out. All right, we are back. Gametime Audible, me, and the sports guru who has dipped out on me for the moment. He'll be back momentarily. There you go. I said a commercial, Hugh. Just one. I'm good, Fierce. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that's checking in on the Bigo Streets today. Appreciate you. Thanks to all of y'all that's checking in on the broadcast. Definitely getting a good turnout this week. We appreciate y'all. We definitely want your comments to keep them coming, y'all. Keep them coming. But that being said, we are now talking NCAA football. It was a good championship weekend last week. He was going to talk about the teams he wants to talk about, and I'm going to chime in when necessary. Go on ahead, you.
The Michigan game was something that I was glad to, because my man's finally did what he had to do.
Hugh. Why you do these things trying to placate your boy? You know that ain't the first game you want to talk about. I don't even know why you trying to play me. Don't try to play me. Play Monopoly, my dude. Play PlayStation.
Let me be great,
Play
man.
what's really on your mind, bro.
Man, yeah, you was right, man. And you want to throw that in my face, man. You was right. You kicked it with me, and you said after that game, because you thought that I was pissed off with Bama after the game that they played, man, when they played Auburn. And I said, man, that was a gritty win. They needed that win because they need to know that you're not going to always be the favorite. I definitely like what my man said too, Nick Saban. I don't know if you heard the interview. At first, I thought he was crazy. He was saying that the rat poison y'all was feeding us in the past, it basically affected us. But this rat poison y'all feeding us recently tastes yummy. I said, what the hell is he talking about? And I laughed and then, well, when I heard it, I said, okay, he basically talking about all the doubters who was hating on Alabama early in the season. It kind of affected them as a team, or I guess they didn't like the shade being on them because they're always the haunted. But when it came to them playing this game, man, I was a little nervous because I said I didn't know that they was going to do what they did, man. And just to see how not only did they beat Georgia, but they humiliated Georgia, man. And then my man Bryce Young did what he did, man. He's definitely one of the proven Heisman Trophy winners. Yeah, man, you can say what you want, man. I didn't think that they was going to step up to the plate because mental mistakes and the things that they did in other games, I definitely was going to think it was going to come to light in this game. They played a full game, finally, Alabama football, man.
You done, Hugh?
Of course I'm done, man. I felt like they played like we thought they were, not playing down to themselves.
Ain't no we in that. Ain't no we in that. That's how you thought they were. What do I call your team?
The Factory.
Why do I call it the Factory, Hugh?
You see what the Factory does, man. They get guys, they groom them, and they usually year one in the NFL they're ready. They're ready to go out and play. You can plug and play them anywhere on the field.
Who arguably are the two best freshman players in the NFL right now?
Man, definitely my boy Mac Jones.
And who's the other one?
You say freshman?
Yes, rookie. We just talked about him. How you forget that quick?
Oh, who you talking about? I'm trying to see because Trevon Diggs not a freshman.
I thought I was the old one on the show. Didn't we say something about Micah Parsons? Didn't we talk about that dude?
Micah, yeah.
What school did he go to?
Okay, man, whatever.
What school did he go to, you?
Factory.
Okay, Mac Jones, what school did he go to?
The Factory, Alabama.
Somebody is on the verge of breaking the all-time rookie record for receptions. That would be Waddle, correct?
Yes, sir.
What school did he go to, Hugh?
Alabama.
Now, understand, I know this because this man points it out to me. We talk about Alabama players and the effect that it had on the league and what have you. So why all year seemed like I had more faith in the Factory than he did, I don't know. I've been telling this dude week after week when I get these sad little texts. What am I talking about? Remember, I got the receipts. Don't lie. Hold on, let me read one to y'all right quick. My buddy Hugh talking about. Hold on, let me see where it go. This is one text I definitely wanted to read. Where that?
Big Meats, what's good, man?
I done lost it. You lucky. But no, basically it was something to the effect of, yeah, see, that's why I'm saying Alabama ain't quite what I thought they'd be this year. Because they're not showing like they have in the past or what have you. Shout out to Big Meech in the building. Hey, what up, Big Meech? Bitch Meech is in the building. Hey, I'm just getting in. Have you guys covered any basketball D-League games yet? No, we have not. But I imagine you have some information about
it. On E.
My College Park Skyhawks are 0-8. Oh, Lord. Wow. When we talk about his College Park Skyhawks, we really do mean his College Park Skyhawks. He is definitely a supporter and part of the team structure there. So shout out to Big Meech getting up on that B-ball. But yeah, we're going to get to some B-ball before the game is over with. Fear not, my brother. But right now we're talking about college football and in particular the factory. Now here's the deal, Hugh. Was I surprised that your team won? Absolutely not. Because I've been telling you all season. They were setting up for this all along. You think?
Agree.
No, I already know. Saban, on the one hand, was prepared for the little games. But on the other hand, he had his notebook every week. Okay, Georgia doing this. Georgia doing that. Much like his good friend. Who's his good friend in the NFL, Hugh?
Coach Bill Belichick.
And what is Bill Belichick best known for?
Taking your best players and taking the best people out the game.
That part. And that's why they get along so well, because they both do the same thing. I've been watching Georgia while you've been watching Alabama all year. Two things that I know about Georgia is, one, they are not quite want to be quarterback at Georgia. It comes up at times. Fortunately for them, they didn't have to worry about it much because most of the games they played this season were against secondary SEC teams or trash. I hate the SEC schedule in general because they always had that one or two games in the middle of the conference season that they don't need to play at all. They play these also rans these. Okay, we're going to give you guys a donation, right? We want you to come up here, have a good time in Alabama. When you get here, we're going to beat the hell out you, okay? You already know that, right? But we're going to give you $1 million to play because we need a rest in between these tough games we play in the SEC. So they bring in Alabama State or Alabama A Union or whatever crazy team they have to play and beat the snot out of them that week, while everybody else still trying to tough it out in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 or what have you. I hate that they do that. I hate they get credit for that. I hate the fact that they don't get penalized enough for that. That's why we got 2 SEC teams in the championship when we really should only have one. Bottom line, one that game should be in it, and the other team shouldn't. But you knew that wasn't going to happen. What up,
agree.
Hey, Fish, I see y'all. But bottom line, Hugh, is Alabama is who I said they was. And they are not who you said they were not. And you should have knew better. You watched them play every week. Talking about, well, they're just not as dominant on defense this year. And I'm not seeing enough super plays and all of that. You done got so spoiled over the years of watching all these pros play for Alabama and then go to the NFL and show out that this year when they had just a decent Alabama team, not realizing that decent Alabama team still better than 95% of every team in the NCAA, sir. So that is why they are ranked number 1. But here's my problem, Hugh. Should they be number 1 right now? No.
No, I think Cincinnati should be because they didn't win. They didn't lose a game.
My point exactly. And I don't give a damn who Cincinnati plays. Bottom line is 4 teams there. Only one team got that 0 next to their name, and that's the team that should have been 1. Period.
Agreed.
It looks bad though if they make Natty number 1 because we know when they play either Michigan, Georgia, or Alabama, they're probably gonna get their doors blew off. So that is why you don't rank them 1. That being said, last week it's only 4 or 5 games worth talking about. We talked about one. We can now talk about the Michigan game, which really wasn't a game.
Not at all.
No business being in the championship game. They did not.
That championship game was determined when they beat Ohio State because that Iowa game was so bad.
That was the championship game, sir. Which goes to that point that several people have made, not only just here in Michigan, but across the country. A lot of the pundits agree that they should have been won and not, in fact, Alabama, because we were way more dominant in our championship game than they were. And then when you look at our one loss to the team that's ranked number 10 in the coaches and the AP poll, that being Michigan State, they only beat us by a touchdown. And if you remember how that game went, we were winning most of that game. It's them last quarter that determined how we lost that game. When Texas A&M beat Alabama, they beat Alabama. That week, I agreed with you because they didn't play right that game. That's why they lost to Texas A&M.
When they lost by that field goal, man, I definitely thought it was poor execution. But then a lot of that showed up this year too. Still, he did just mental mistakes like them hiking the ball too high, offside, a lot of penalties, this little knick-knack stuff that cost them that game that shouldn't even happen, And that happened throughout
ever since. Because bottom line, Hugh ain't happy with Alabama unless Alabama's undefeated, unless every other person on that team is a Heisman candidate or Butkus winner or what have you. He can't just deal with a normal Alabama season where they only lose once and they might not make it. He wants Alabama to be as dominant as possible so that when they get to the championship game, ain't no doubt, and he can bet all his money and talk all his big junk at work and what have you. When he should have believed all along.
The game they lost, I was nauseated.
Now they're going to mess around, at least make it to the championship game because they, in essence, get a bye by getting Cincinnati. And then either play Michigan or Georgia and probably beat them by a good 2 touchdowns again and end up winning another championship. And then what would we say then, Hugh, with, I know, well, it is Alabama. I want to hear all that right now. I want to hear it now.
I still wouldn't be satisfied because they shouldn't have lost to Texas A&M, period.
And my car got started from my job today. Oh, my. That's not good, Miss Cher. Sorry to hear that. Shout out to my people in Beagle, but no, that's not good news. We'll definitely have to talk about that later on. But no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Prayers for Miss Cher, y'all. This is not the time of year for anybody to be getting a car, their money, or any of that taken. Definitely don't like to hear that.
And I still feel like with Michigan, too, I don't feel like Michigan or Alabama should have been number one. And I understand what Rose's saying, but I still feel like at the end of the day, Cincinnati was the team who didn't lose. But like you said, though, a lot of people will look at it like when it comes, because there's a lot of favoritism in the SEC, man. Don't get me wrong. ESPN is one of them. And they probably wanted those 2 SEC teams in there. But so we had to give credit where credit due. But at the same time,
this is why this championship is a fraud as it is. With it just being 4 teams in the end, ESPN definitely want the teams that people gonna tune in to watch. Ain't nobody trying to watch Cincinnati, man.
I'm definitely glad you mentioned that
Ohio State to be in it. Of course, they want Notre Dame or Georgia or Florida or Alabama, some teams with a large following to be in it. USC, UCLA, they want all these teams because those are the big markets. The big markets mean big money.
And we'll never get the championship that we deserve until they finally get those 8 teams in the playoffs, period.
We need to at least have an 8 or 12 team playoff. So that way we ain't had to have these discussions every year. You get all the winners from the conferences. They get an automatic in. Then you get the at-large teams. And then any of these teams like Cincinnati or whatnot that go undefeated, they automatically get thrown in there to prove that they worthy. And then we don't have this issue. But until then, some 3-4 years from now, we stuck with this mess. And bottom line, should have been Cincinnati, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. Period. Truthfully, not even Georgia. Probably Notre Dame for real. But
yeah, I agree.
To hear that.
Yeah, because that's how it should have been, with the whole championship with Georgia and Alabama. You win, you in. You lose, you go home.
Pretty much. But that being said, we'll talk about next week who's going to beat who and all of that. But Bottom line is, them was some good championship games. Except, like I said, the Michigan game, not so much. It got boring after a while. I
It
would have
wasn't
to be
no
in there.
more.
Oklahoma State proved what they always prove in the Big 12. They are not a conference that plays defense. As a result, they don't have nobody in again, and they shouldn't. They should not. Pac-12 definitely hate these playoffs because they get hold more times than not. But in the end, neither one of those teams, Oregon or Utah, was worthy. So not mad
Not
at
at
them.
all.
Well, bro, I'm
Absolutely.
going to need y'all to talk about the NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament. Who was in that tournament, H2? I have watched a couple games. Stanford has always has a good team. Maryland has a good team. I believe either Michigan or Michigan State was in the tournament at some point. And while we're talking women's volleyball, can we talk some men's volleyball too? Because both of those tournaments usually go on the same time. Hugh, you still with us?
She want to talk women's sports. Hey, I can open the door to the whole situation with.
It's so hard to be a show that's committed to pushing women's sports when as soon as I bring up women's sports, my co-host basically tunes out on me. You ain't about to do that to me this week, Hugh, just because we didn't talk football first. You still better be an active participant in the rest of the show.
I was reading these two comments, man. But all right, man. If you want, we could get into we could jump into the Tiger Woods playing in the PNC Championship, man. I actually was intrigued with that because at first we talked and we was talking about Tiger Woods wanting to come back on a part-time basis, but man, I thought better yet that it'll be like in June, July when it's a warmer climate weather, but to see him coming back this fast really surprised me, man. And he said he wanted to play on the tour with his son Charlie, man. So I thought that was really good to see. And that's going to be good for the sport at the same time, man, because Tiger Woods is going to always bring the revenue. It's going to be a huge payday for the guys. It just seems like whenever he comes, everybody shows up, man. And I just think that that's good for the sport, man. And I'm just excited about it. Definitely to see that comeback and him come back so fast. He like we said, he might not come back full time, but just to play at some part of the year, man, it's still big for the sport.
Okay, H2, here's the deal, my friend. We gonna do some homework. So next week, be prepared to talk women's volleyball, Hugh. You see this? We got to get the people what they want. H2 one of the people's, man.
Okay.
Pass over what's being said. But yeah, let me get to the Tiger Woods thing. Remember, I don't think he is 100% enough to really come back and play. So that's why this tournament probably is good to kind of see where he's at. But I think the real reason is not him playing for his own sake. It's because we are watching him play with his son. He has taken an interest in the game, and his father very much likes that. Much like he took an interest in the game that his father played, which was golf. So I do believe that is why he is at least attempting this week to play. We'll see to what extent he's able to. But then again, this is not necessarily a tournament. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what Charlie got. You know, when they played together not too long ago, that little dude, he got game. The only problem is I really kind of don't want him to get into golf to that degree because that's one of the biggest shadows ever. Living in the shadow of Tiger. I would hate to have to go through his whole life trying to live up to his father's standards. Then, of course, there is that. Tiger is good for business. Sad, ain't it? The sport that really don't want us now is setting records and boundaries whenever he graces the ground. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It is said that when Tiger wins every tournament, television ratings go up 56%. The money at the tournament goes up threefold. It's big business. They sell more golf equipment the weeks that he is relevant in golf, particularly when he is winning. So, yeah, they most definitely want Tiger to be back and relevant. I tell you, as I told you before, if Tiger can somehow manage to come back and win one of the big tournaments next year, that will be the biggest sports story of the decade, without question, if not of all time. To come back from that horrific accident and be good enough to win again at almost 50. Unheard of.
Yeah, man, that's a feel good story, man. Just to see him going out there playing with his son. I want to see what he do in like a big tournament though, but I know that he might not be ready and preparing for it. But like you said, it's huge. But the sad part is, Meet's right, man. It's sad because it's so great for business for them, but yet most times we don't feel welcome.
Well, see, that's the thing, H2. Even Tiger Woods admits that he won't never be 100% again. He said that it's going to take a lot of preparation just for him to play in the tournaments that he is playing in, because it's going to require him to do extra stretching and extra warm-ups and extra practice sessions and things of that nature. So he recognizes that he won't be 100%. That's why he's not planning on playing a full schedule anymore. But the thing is, I do believe that maybe outside the first tournament or two, he's going to be ready. He just needs to see what his limitations is. And perhaps that's why he's playing this particular tournament, just to see where he needs to get to in order to be relevant enough to where he can play and make some type of impact. Because truthfully, if he goes to one of these tournaments and finish top 10, I'm impressed.
Yeah, basically, I understand what you're saying, and I know where you're coming from. He basically just want to get a measuring stick of where he at or where he needs to be and work on that.
Right.
I think there's nothing wrong with that neither, because I know a lot of those guys gonna love him being there, man, because wherever he come out, man, that payday come around.
All right.
The tips and everything increases.
Yep. So, okay. That being said, what we got next, Hugh?
Man, I want to get into the NBA. And
right. His 80% is better than some who plays 100. His 60% is most than play 100. I think he could play in a wheelchair and do better than half of everybody on tour right now. How good is his son, Ro? Actually, they say he's pretty good. They say he's pretty good. He not Tiger Woods good at that age, but they say he definitely could probably take on some grown men and take their money. He that good. But yeah, all right, go ahead, Hugh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. As far as the NBA, I just wanted to talk about some topics, man, that I was hearing and I was interested in. I've been hearing a lot of rumors right now that Damian Lillard might be on the move. And if Damian Lillard go on the move, man, what are some hot spots or teams that you think that be available for him?
I'm not ready to have that conversation. Reason being, Damian Lillard is hurt. He is hurt bad. Right now, in fact, him and, of course, McCollum are out for the Trailblazers. I mean, I feel McCollum's actually out with a collapsed lung, no less.
Yeah, so, I definitely heard about that. That's crazy.
We don't know when he may return. He may be out for the season even. But right now, I think Dame been hurt for most of the season, truth be told. We see early on this season, he has not been himself. Right now, I expect that we should be talking about him in the NBA conversation right along with Steph and a few other folks. But no, we ain't got Dame Dollar, but maybe 1 or 2 games all season for real. So until he comes back and prove he is healthy, I don't even think we need to have that discussion. He's not going nowhere to that.
Enough said. Is the Chicago Bulls a legit team in not only in the East, but just overall to you?
I think the Chicago Bulls aren't even what they supposed to be just yet. I think they still, like a lot of these teams that picked up a whole bunch of new pieces, starting to gel and figure out who they really are and who they really could become in due time. So I don't even think we've seen a third of the best of what Chicago can be. I think we get another 15, 20 games, and then we can figure out what exactly we got there.
I think it all started with Nikolai Vucevic, for him to come over, and because they wanted somebody for Zach LaVine, man, to keep him there, because, you know, I was hearing rumors if the money was good that he was going to be on the move to get that piece of the puzzle, and then to get the players that they had. That was a good recipe for that team. And right now is doing well. They got to get probably closer to the All-Star break for me to feel like that team is succeeding. But they're competing right now, man. They are a game behind Brooklyn Nets for the #1 spot. So that is impressive right now. They still got a lot of basketball going on. But I just want to say overall, man, who do you think will come out of the West as the number one seed when it's all said and done? Do you think that it will be the Phoenix Suns or when the Golden State Warriors finally get Klay Thompson back?
Now, see, I want y'all to notice something. Notice how my brother's up and upright and perky to see what happened when we do the football first. See that? See that? Second of all, where was all this analyst last week when you did the show by yourself? You weren't talking that much basketball last week, man. Where was all that at? Where was it at, bro? NBA been going on. Where you been? You been all up in the football. Ain't been watching no NBA. Come on now, you the sports guru. Tighten up, bro. Tighten up.
I've been definitely watching basketball, man, but basketball don't even really be as intriguing until it gets to like some heavy hitting games, or like, man, when they're trying to get ready to do their playoffs, man, or get the playoff position.
Okay, well, let me answer this first.
Go back football, man.
Rose is saying how many teams Rose, I assume you mean Derrick Rose, been on, because I think he needs to retire. I disagree, Rose. Derrick Rose is still a pertinent player in this league. Is he a starter? Yeah, I wouldn't say that. He definitely is not an MVP candidate anymore. I give him that much. But considering how bad he was at one point to where he is at the moment, I still say D Rose is still a good person in the league. I definitely wish we had him on the Pistons right now because Hayes ain't getting it done. I'm sorry. Now, he might be doing a little something tonight. Last I checked, we was winning. But in terms of what you said about the West, I'm not quite sure where we at with the West now. Think about it. We got the Suns, who are definitely playing big-time ball. We got the Warriors. But remember, we ain't even got the full Warriors yet because they know what they're doing. And Klay ain't even back yet. Or Wiseman, for that matter. Two of their starters from last couple of years. So, for as good as they are at the moment, I can't wait to see what happens once they integrate those two pieces in. You got the Clippers, but remember, they win without Kawhi. So hopefully when Kawhi gets back, he's 100%, and they ain't got to be resting him every other game like they usually have to do. So there's that. I don't know what's going on with Utah. They kind of plotting along, but they ain't really impressing me as they have these last couple years.
You stay ceiling to me, man, almost last year when we said we didn't trust them with their seeding and being number one. We wasn't really to the point where we even cared because we said eventually they will mess this up, and they did.
But yeah, quick update, y'all, right quick before we move on to basketball talk. Right now, the scores are we got the 76ers and the Hornets tied at 93. We got the Cavaliers beating the crap out of said Bulls, by the way, 115 to 92. We got the Wizards beating the Pistons. I told you that's come back. We got the Pacers beating the hell out said Knicks at the
man.
Yeah, look like I lost
that
dollar.
That's one we need to do like that. That's a really bad game, man. They need to.
We got the Bucks and the Heat and the Titans. We got the Thunder winning again. They might mess around, win back-to-back games. Okay. We got the Rockets beating the Nets at the half. What the hell?
Pretty bad, too. They had a comfortable lead.
This is a bit of an upset, but remember, the Nets did play last night, and a close game, I might add. But also remember, the Rockets been on a little hot streak lately. They done won 7 out of the last 9 games, so I guess we shouldn't be too surprised. Plus, remember, it's in Houston, so I'm pretty sure it's a couple people on that Rockets team still that's motivated to beat Harden. You know they ain't happy how you play them. We got the Jazz beating the Timberwolves by 1. And we got the Nuggets surprisingly only winning by 2 over the Pelicans. And speaking of the West and teams, I definitely want to put Denver in that mix. But remember, we still waiting for Murray to come back from his injury. And now, of course, we got Michael Porter Jr. out with that back injury. And I think that's pretty much puts him out. All right, hold on.
He was playing at 100%.
What's your take on LeBron knocking this dude in the face? I don't think that was on purpose, but we looking at B-ball reigniting the Detroit bad boy spirit? I disagree with that. I think basically you caught LeBron on a bad night. The incident, like I said, I don't think his intentions was to bloody him. I would definitely go as far as saying that. I just think that at that moment in the game, he got tired of getting hit and beat on. and he retaliated with the elbow, and it kind of hit the mark a little too good. That being said, I would say more of that Big Meech if indeed when they played them again, because of course they played since that time, and there was no incident whatsoever in that second game. So no, I wouldn't go as far as that, Meech. What do you think, Hugh?
I definitely don't think so. At first, I was like, yeah, that's just Brian being frustrated. I thought that it was intentional, but at the same time, when you beat up on him, he's been beat up just as bad as Shaquille O'Neal. I think he's second with the beat up, like people beating him up and the penalties and the bumps and bruises. And he just got frustrated, man. A few times we seen Shaq get out of character, man. So a lot of times he'll just wave it off and go to the free throw line. But they get tired of it, man. Getting pushed around and elbowed and battered because they're bigger than everybody else, man. And it was just like LeBron said, enough, man, and that's the way he reacted, which I was surprised he didn't do that sooner, like to people, in the league years of like the last 2 or 3 years, because he got a lot of wear and tear, not just because of the games he played, because of the people pulling on him, grabbing him, and, doing malicious fouls that basically are not blatant that they let him get away with. Like
To answer your question, H2, yes, there's a few teams in the league playing at 100%, but they're not the better teams right now. That's the problem. I think most of the good teams in the NBA, they do have a piece or two missing or somebody not playing 100%, and that's why they kind of where they at right now. But, yeah, I would say some probably middle of the pack teams, they playing up to 100%, but they 100% ain't good enough.
Speaking of trade deadline, too, when I was mentioning that whole thing about Dame, and you said you didn't want to discuss that, but let's discuss this one right here, Eon, because what I feel like right now is when I look at the Dallas Mavericks, man, I think they're underachieving right now. Man, you have Luka, who I know a lot of people are saying Luka need more people and pieces around him. And I'm surprised because I heard Shaq say that the 19 points that he was putting up wasn't enough. He needs to put up 25, 26 points a night to basically be making or being equal to a Luka Doncic to help that team, though. How do you feel about that? Did you agree with that?
Okay. Remember this. We're going to address that in a minute, Hugh. He meant that. Yeah, he did mean the H2. Here's the thing. One of the talking heads, and I definitely agree with what he had to say today, part of the problem with Luka is not in shape. They are basically reporting that Luka right now is about 6'9", 260. That's not a good playing weight for him, particularly for someone who has control of the ball most of the game. Ideally, they say he should probably be playing more at about 230, 235. And I think that lack of condition is definitely affecting his play. Remember, at one point in time last year, probably about a good 15-game stretch, Luka was definitely looking like the MVP of the league. He was dominating on both offense and defense. Right now, he's not even playing the minutes that we used to him playing. And when he is playing, we get spurts of Luka. We don't get the quality Luka that we've seen in those two previous seasons. He's playing like he's more like 32 than 22. So I think that's part of the problem. I agree with Barkley. He's not playing up to his standard right now. And then, of course, Porzingis, he's been a huge disappointment since he's been in Dallas. I really expected a lot more than what we're getting from him.
I expected that early first couple of years with the New York Knicks, man. And it's like we said, we talked about this before in the past. The New York Knicks knew what they were doing when they got that trade, man, because they came out on the better end, because look how that team's doing right now. And they're basically breathing a breath of fresh air in New York right now, man, with Julius Randle and all the pieces they have around them. They've been doing really good at that, man, point, and trying to get that team back to relevance of where they were in the past. Versus Dallas, man, they're going to always be a middle of the road team, man. They'll be like a 7th or 8th seed team who just barely get into the playoff. They might win a game or two and go right back home.
I mean, bottom line is I should see a lot more of Porzingis in the paint doing work at 7'3" with that wingspan, unstoppable. The difference between him and Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant don't have the body type to do what he needs to do in the post. That's why you don't see a lot of post work from KD, but he can do it. Meanwhile, Porzingis, taller version, can't shoot quite as well as KD, but definitely could do more work on the inside, and should see him do more of it. Shout out to Loyal and Big Red checking in on the Bigo. Thank you to Shaka and Nazim in the house. Thank you for the support. Egypt checking in. Got a lot of people checking in the Bigo right now. Appreciate y'all. But no, we are not getting what we should be getting from either one of those two individuals. They should be more like Shaq and Kobe over there in Dallas, and we're not seeing nothing close to that right now.
I even thought that they would even be 2.0 of Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, man. It just been very disappointed with that team, man, because I had high expectations on them to just be just a regular team who just go through the motions and just barely make it the playoffs.
Hey, Egypt, what's going on? Thank you, Loyal. Okay, me saying WNBA, the Dream has a new coach, fire 2 players, gain new players, and have a reconstruction of its management. What's your take? I think overall, that's going to play well. Keep in mind, Atlanta's still up and coming in terms of their sports environment. So I definitely think that plays to their advantage to start the culture over. That being said, considering the league as a total, it's going to be a few minutes before we get any type of relevancy with the Dream, unless they make out good in the WNBA draft, that is. Because right now, I'm thinking of at least 4 or 5 teams that's better than them overall.
Yeah, they need to restructure that team because it was too much chaos and it was just really getting out of control over there. Man, they need to restructure and get some type of balance because the way they had the team before, man, it was definitely unprofessional, and they need to do better for that team and that organization because they need to grow. And like you said, it's going to probably take them a minute, but at the same time, this is the point in the right direction. So good for them to be making these power moves and trying to do what's best for that team. Because I didn't feel like they had was best of interest in the last 2 years, especially last year. It was more or less, but they were more of a mockery because of the court issues than what they were when they were playing anyway.
Agreed. Yeah, but thank you guys that's showing the love here on Big Up. I do see you guys, trust and believe. I do appreciate y'all. Hopefully the phone don't cut off on y'all like 10%, but hang in there. Okay, yeah, WNBA definitely is growing. There was a point in time when the WNBA was looking kind of shaky in terms of its overall development, but I do believe once we get past COVID, that we definitely will get some better support from the WNBA overall. I do think that they need to advertise more, particularly in cities like Atlanta, where I think they could develop quite a huge following once they get a relevant team down there in Atlanta. I'm so proud of myself talking sports. Meech, you sell yourself short, my brother. You can pretty much talk about anything. You've always been able to do that. You continue to do that. I'm not surprised at all.
I wanted to talk to you too about something that I heard yesterday, and I wanted to know if you was aware. I know Charles Barkley got a huge bond with Frank Vogel, man. How did you feel about him not only calling out AD and saying AD's supposed to be one of the top 5 players, and he hasn't showed that on a consistent basis, but he was pissed off and saying, man, I'd be damned if y'all get rid of my homeboy Frank Vogel, man. It'll be a travesty if you do, because of the fact is he felt like a lot of the players are not stepping up, but at the same time, he defended Russ and said, y'all are trying to blame everything on Russ, but it's not really Russ's fault. He came over there and he's trying to find his balance in LA. But you've been one of the guys that's been over there for a while now, AD. You can't stay healthy, and you're supposed to be one of the top players to actually help that team go. He said him and LeBron together is supposed to be more effective than what they have been, and he haven't been showing that whatsoever, which is AD. And he just basically said he didn't feel like that was fair to hear that Frank Vogel is a possibility on his way out. Then he don't feel like AD of all people are not really executing or playing to his potential.
Frank Vogel is doing his job. His players are not doing their job. That is part of the problem. AD is supposed to be the focal point over there since he's the young gun. But bottom line is AD is still averaging 24.5 points a game and almost 11 rebounds and 2 blocks. What the hell are you supposed to do? I mean, remember, part of why he's not averaging 30 and 35 is because look at his teammates. They got to shoot too. You know, Westbrook going to take his share of shots. You know that. Yep. You know, LeBron going to get his regardless. And of course, you know, Carmelo, you don't just bring Carmelo in to sit there at the 3-point line and do this all game. Yeah, he got to get his shots in. Hell, every night it seemed to be one or two people that they sit down that should have got some playing time. I don't know why Rondo not playing. Rondo definitely should be getting more
Yeah, you
playing
both,
time.
man.
I don't know why they're not playing Dwight Howard more, particularly since they've been having trouble defensively. I just think overall, we're not getting the maximum input from what you got. They playing like they old. That's all I ever talk about. That team too old. They're not gonna make it through a whole season. They showing themselves to be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They
In the
definitely
end,
not
we know what's
like
gonna make that fix. And once he determines that, yeah, it's time to have that players only meeting and getting everybody shit, and then get to doing what they need to do, you will get more games like they had last night. So yeah, it's LeBron. It's all LeBron. But you don't come out and criticize LeBron. We know that. So you play around it, you go all around it. But bottom line, you need LeBron to be healthy. If LeBron is healthy, he'll work out all the rest. Remember, LeBron done won with far less.
Yeah, I agree.
When is soccer season? Is America really embracing the sport in your opinions? See, that answers its own question, Big Meech. Right now, we have the MLS playoffs going on. There are several good teams in some of these areas. Seattle has a good team. Portland has a good team. There are two very good teams in the LA area. The fact that you do not know anything about that as basic sports fan A indicates where we are with soccer right now.
Yeah,
Right
definitely
now,
not.
this is the sports guru Hugh, okay? I promise you, if I put on a timer for 5 minutes, he may be able to name 6 of the teams in the MLS. Maybe. And it's somebody that looks at sports constantly, every day, all day. So I know, based upon that information, no, we are still not a soccer-loving country. We're doing better than we were maybe 10 or 20 years ago. But right now, there's that. I mean, we just finished the women's soccer season for that matter. Does anybody know who won that tournament?
Absolutely not. I don't.
Anybody even know the teams that's in the women's soccer league? Maybe H2 still in the room may know a few teams. I may know a team or two, but again, we talking about people that are sports people. Hell, Stephen A. Smith probably couldn't tell you half of the teams in the women's soccer league. And he gets paid $15, $20 million to talk sports. So that's where we at with soccer right now, Hugh. I mean, we just finished the NCAA soccer season. Can you tell me either one of the teams that won the championship this year? Men or women? Again, H2 may be able to do that. But we got 4 other people in the room. They probably can't. I got about 100 people here in the Bigo room. They probably can't either. So that's my point. Soccer's still not relevant here.
Not at all. I want to get over to your girl now, man. Paige Becker, man. How do you feel about that and impacting your, Lady Husky season? I know that had you shook right now, man, because that was the engine that could, and they were going to go as far as Paige Becker take them. And right now it's looking like it's not looking too good for them, man. How long is she out? 6 to 8 weeks, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, see, here's the situation. Let me break it down because I was watching it live when it happened. Basically, and shout out to the Notre Dame fighting Lady Irish. They played a pretty good game up until that last quarter against UConn. They definitely are improving. I did not even know they had a new coach. It's her second year, in fact. But yeah, they look pretty good. Actually, there's been several quality games in women's basketball this season. That was just one of them. But in terms of the situation, there's a minute left to go. UConn was up by 20. Paige just bringing up the ball as she does, and then her leg kind of buckled, and then she was out. Next thing you know, they're carrying off the court. Of course, people got to criticize Coach Auriemma, and that hardly ever happens. He is rarely criticized about anything. Usually the criticism for Gino is that he is too tough on the girls, but their criticism was, why was she still in the game with a minute left? And they were winning by 20. But if you know Coach Auriemma and how he deals with this, there are teams that he usually has, and usually the starters play all of the minutes up until that last maybe 30 seconds or so. Unless, of course, it's a blowout, in which case then he may play some of the players. But remember also, they are shorthanded at UConn at the moment. The number one player in America that came to UConn last year. She's already out with a foot injury for a few weeks. One of their better defenders is out for an extended period of time. So he's already playing shorthanded. Remember also there were a Doda who fouled out that game. Then a couple people had 4 fouls. So, he kind of went with what was available at the moment. Not to mention in any other game, Paige basically plays the whole game. She hardly ever sits down. So there was no reason to believe that she would have any issue. It was one of those freak injuries. It didn't happen with her defending anybody or her shooting the ball. She was just bringing the ball up the court. So I don't blame Gino for that at all. That being said, my concern is that now Paige has had significant injuries in 2 seasons, back to back now. And my concern is that going to be a long-term problem for her? Because obviously when she's healthy, 9 times out of 10, she is the best player on the court by far. No exception.
It was a non-contact injury too. It wasn't like she got hurt by
the ball up the court.
Yeah, it ain't like nobody did nothing malice to her. It was just a freak injury. But like you said,
the bottom line is ask the Lakers what it's like to replace LeBron James when he is out. Ask Golden State what it's like to replace Steph Curry when he's not playing.
With 20 up by 22 and a minute left, man, I understand somewhat of that criticism, but it's like he has those girls to be game ready and prepared to play all game. It wasn't like he meant for that to happen. It's just, accidents happen, man. It was just a really bad situation. I don't think that he should get a lot of the blame, but I mean, it was going to happen regardless, I mean, God don't make mistakes.
Yeah, bottom line is I'm concerned because their schedule is a lot tougher than it has been in the last few years. So it's going to be games where they really struggle without her. They're supposed to play South Carolina again at some point. They got Louisville to play, top-ranked team. I believe they play Maryland at some point. There's some very good teams that they got left to play on the schedule. And right now, from where I'm sitting, they probably don't get Paige back to the end of February. Knowing her, she'll probably try to come back sooner, but I'm thinking in terms of her being close to 100%, that is probably will be the thought process of Gino and the crew before they put her out there. Right now, you got enough Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famers, McDonald's All-Americans on that team where they just want to step their game up. They're going to step up and show and prove. Like I said, you got 3 of the last 5 years of number 1 player in America on your team. Somebody going to step up and say, hey, this is why they brought me to UConn. Flat out.
They can really get their dues right now, man. Most of the people who wasn't going to play will be able to play and get significant minutes to show who they are and to get an opportunity to be in that spotlight now. Maybe give her an opportunity when they're up by a margin like 20 points to where she can sit out of a game now and not worry about any comebacks, which it wasn't going to be anyway. But at the same time, more or less, this could give those other women who knew they wasn't going to get a shot a bigger and better opportunity. They need to take advantage while they could.
Now, see, what I'm concerned about is where will this put them overall in terms of ranking when it's time for the tournament? Because clearly they're going to get enough wins to make the tournament. We know that. But the thing is, at that point, will they have lost 4, 5, 6 games? Will that make them like a 4th or a 5th seed? And then Paige comes back along with the other players. They're already dangerous as a 1 seed. Imagine how dangerous they'll be as a 4 or 5 seed.
Because they'll still have something to prove, regardless of the fact that we know that they have injuries and a lot of stuff happening throughout the season. But yeah, I think their back will be against the wall and they'll have more to prove.
Right. Remember, they had 3 seniors come back to that team to play again this year. They didn't come back for nothing. They came back to win a championship. So I expect they're going to play their hardest to make it happen. All I know is you see how important Paige Beckers was, because when she went down, it went from a raucous crowd of about 17,000, which is like unheard of for a women's game, to you could hear a pin drop in that, boy, Hugh. It was more sound in that building when they had COVID protocols and wasn't nobody allowed to come in there. It got that quiet. Everybody surrounded her. Gino, the staff, all the girls. Nobody said nothing. She gets that type of respect. Even the women over there on the Notre Dame bench was like, because they know what she means to the game. She is not just the best player in America in terms of college basketball. The GOAT herself, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, Diana Taurasi said she might be the best player in the world today, right now, at 19. She gets that type of respect.
Yeah, that's just rolling out the red carpet for her. But like you said, E man, what is it going on over there that getting her to the point where she's getting injured all the time? Yeah, like we said, it was like a freak accident. You know, it was just something where she was coming up the court. But it's starting to happen too much now, man. Do you think that now that as far as I know you gotta play and practice and prepare to play these games, but do you think that is the aggressive practices you told me about? Do you think they're starting to wear and tear on these players now?
I don't know if that's the case for her. Remember, I'm not gonna say that it's a big problem because remember, my concern is you got her. She's been hurt back-to-back seasons now. That doesn't necessarily mean she's injury prone. It just happened that way. And then again, we got Miss Fudd, who is the number one player this year. She's been hurt multiple times now because she was hurt during her senior season in high school, and now she's hurt in her first year at UConn. So my concern is that maybe these players are playing too much and too often. Remember, we talk about players that are playing in under 19 leagues and AAU ball and playing with the boys. And remember, as a person that covered women's basketball, these girls ain't just playing during the season. They're playing all the time. Especially if you love basketball like we know Paige does, she probably didn't just overdid it in general. So there's that.
Ain't funny, man, because I'm about to answer some of my questions that I was asking you earlier. And one of the things that you said, and I'm reiterating what my man's just said, Luka Doncic, man. He said that he's taking most of the heat right now because of what's been going on with the Dallas Mavericks, that he needs to do better by preparation and getting in better shape, flat out.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
Because he over there looking like one of the clumps right now. Another one I wanted to talk about, and if you want, I can actually get on that one right quick too. Dame Lillard, like, first and foremost, he ain't asking for any trades right now. And then two, the surprise of it all is he had a cortisone injection, and he could be returning to the court this Sunday.
And who is that?
Damian Lillard.
Okay, that's the latest update on Dame Dollar.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He got a cortisone shot, and he should be back soon.
The way Dame plays, you're going to at least give him a couple weeks before we determine what extent he is back. Remember, he is a shooter. He is a smaller shooter, so you definitely need your legs in order to prepare yourself to hit three-point shots and whatnot. So we got to see to what degree that is. Speaking of Maryland, as I recall, is ranked in the top 5 this week in women's college basketball. They definitely have a good front court. I'm liking what Coach Freeze is doing with those girls over there. I definitely see her as the potential winner in the Big Ten Conference this year. She's had some good teams in the past, but I'm definitely liking their overall grittiness with Maryland. So, yeah, I'm definitely liking that. I also like what South Carolina's doing with Coach Staley and her girls. She definitely got them playing some standout defense at this point, and she is demanding of them to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. So right now, with Paige out, I definitely see those two teams. Perhaps you might want to add Stanford somewhere down the line in terms of the possible Final Four until we get Paige and see if she's well enough to make an indent later on in the season.
Yeah, those lady Gametimes be vicious, man. They be having them chicks balling. Them aggressive girls, man.
All right, so what else we got, Hugh?
Man, you know what? We done ran through most of the topics, man.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to add?
Oh yeah, there are definitely some omissions here. First of all, I'm mad at Hugh for a few reasons. One, I'm mad that he didn't never come up with this doing the football in the first place. Notice what type of feedback we got this evening when you started out with football. You notice the energy, the overall discussion, the way you got to all the teams and talked about all the stuff. Notice how rah-rah you was when we got to that. I'm mad at Hugh because when we get to the girls' sports now, Hugh done got sleepy. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. Look at him, y'all. He getting
Nah,
sleepy.
man.
I know he got to be to work in the morning like I do, but in the same token, I'm still up and vibrant. You got to show my girls more love. Hugh,
You acting like I didn't love the LFL football.
you got homework next week. You see, we got all type of fans here on the show. Even here in the Bigo that asked about the girls' sports. We need to start doing more girls' sports, Hugh. We said we're going to get the people what they want. You lying now? You lying? You lying?
Nah, we need to talk more about NFL then. I'm game with that.
All righty then. So you heard Hugh. You heard how you want to do it. If you got any other issues you got with the sports guru, feel free to hit me up.
Oh, no, man.
On the hookup. Y'all know what it is. Because right now, I'm on the show. I'm doing the show. I'm doing the technicals. It's on Hugh to do the program directing for the show. So if you got some things you want Hugh to talk about more often on the show, please hit us up at nighthnetwork313@gmail.com so I can let my brother know and we can put him to work. Because you can't be the sports gurus. You can't talk all the sports. We ask about soccer and all this other stuff. I know more about it than you. And I ain't even no guru. I mean, what we doing here?
You know I don't get down with no soccer, man, but I could definitely,
we might have to take your title away, man.
I could definitely sharpen my swords, though, on that.
The sports guru, I mean, you got to talk all sports, from balloon to basketball. Come on now. But see, he didn't even know about the sports balloon, right? You know balloon's a sport, right? You knew that, right?
Not at all. I know curling the best sport ever.
See, now,
See, back me on that.
See, now he got to go tit for tat. You know that's going to make me go there. Come on now. Yeah, granted, I know the Winter Olympics coming. We ain't talk about that. The fact that the president said, look, yeah, we still going to let the athletes go, but me, the vice president, secretary said, ain't none of us coming. Ain't none of us coming over there. We ain't got nothing to do with y'all. So, yeah, y'all better treat our athletes good, but we ain't going to see not a piece of that. We protest. So we ain't talk about that this week. What up with that, Hugh? Okay, we're going to get into that next week. Don't worry. How you going to omit one of the bigger stories of the day? You ain't going to talk about Serena Williams and the fact that she is not going to the Australian Open since she does not feel healthy enough? Is this the end of Serena? Have we seen the last Williams sisters? How are we not going to talk about those two sports icons this week, Hugh? I'm disappointed,
I definitely feel like it's the right for her, man. Just don't really feel like.
How are we not going to talk about the fact that Australian Open has implemented full vaccination status for everybody? Can't nobody come in the field without being fully vaccinated. No exceptions. None. Not the carpet cleaner, not the window wiper, not the president of Australia, nobody. Everybody at the Open must be fully vaccinated. Guess who's not fully vaccinated, Hugh? The number one players in the world on both sides. Neither one of them are fully vaccinated. We're not going to talk about that. What are we doing?
No, we weren't going to talk about that. We can talk about it. We always have time to talk about it.
Yeah, so as you see, y'all, we still doing some things. It was a good show. I definitely enjoyed it, but yeah, we're going to talk about this program director position, man. I think you might need an assistant, bruh. In other words, I'm blaming partially myself, y'all, because of course I could have told him about all these things before the show. So it is part of my fault. So don't think I'm blaming you, Hugh, but we need us to do our research. Me, you.
Stay off my back. Football is power.
It ain't just about the football, Hugh.
But man, I know you love when I talked about the elders, man. Don't even front on me, man. You love that story.
But nonetheless,
of myself doing that research on that, man. But like, and I was talking about, man, we got to definitely do better as far as, we want to get more women's sport implemented into the program. We got to give them their flowers while they're here, man, and just basically put more, man. You know what, E? I'm even willing to go at one point where we could do an all women's sports show.
I really like that idea, Hugh. We're
A
gonna talk.
show. Don't get it twisted.
We're gonna talk about that. But in the meanwhile, we got to end the show out the right way, Hugh, because it's definitely one story that I cannot let you omit that we really need to talk about. As you guys know, the unfortunate tragedy that happened at Oxford High School last week.
Yeah.
With 4 young people that lost their lives. All of them were basically athletes for the most part. As a tribute to one or all of them, the Michigan Wolverines basically designed jerseys with their names and them represented on the jerseys, and they definitely wanted to make that known to people that they were doing that, and they will continue to do that throughout the college football playoff season. Several of the players are donating some of their likeness money that they are receiving to the cause of Oxford High School. I very much like that. Coach Harbaugh committed all of his playoff money to the staff of Michigan football, who have not been making what they normally make during the pandemic. And they, in turn, have generously donated half of those funds to the Oxford High School Fund. So whatever he's going to get in terms of playoff money, they're going to donate half of their money to them as well. Shout out to the Detroit Lions, who also honored Oxford High School this week. That was a very nice touch that all the coaches on the sideline wore the Oxford Wildcats hats as opposed to the Lions hats. And several of the players mentioned that the reason why they, because the spirit of Oxford High School students were with them during that game. And they definitely dedicated the game ball to Oxford High School. I thought it was a very classy touch on their part.
Definitely. Classic move for Dan Campbell.
And also the Lions, who don't always get it right. I do appreciate what they have done as an organization to help out Oxford High School. They definitely say they want to help them in terms of getting things back under control. Several of the students, they left a lot of things there that fateful day. A lot of their book bags, phones, coats, and whatnot. So the Detroit Lions are going to contribute some money to helping them get everything back on track and getting the high school repaired from some of the things that were caused by that day, the bullet holes and things of that nature. So definitely want to shout them out as well. But yeah, definitely in my thoughts that they happen are the people of Oxford, the parents, the students. It's a shame that we are still closing schools down a week later because they are making death threats.
Yeah.
And 2 of them actually were found guilty today of doing that, and they will be sent to trial. I don't care how old you are. You make it about your high school is just plain ignorant and stupid, and you shouldn't do it. And I hope that they find you and penalize you as much as they possibly can, whether you be adult or minor, because those things are not things to play with. If you don't want to be serious about your education, if you don't want to go to school, just fake being sick like all other stupid little kids do. Don't mess up everybody else's education. So yeah, I definitely wanted to speak on that before we get out today because that's important.
Yeah, definitely. It was sad to hear, man. And kids can't even go to school now and try to get their education without having any threats. We never really went through nothing like that as youngsters with the bullies and everything. We had to figure out a way to persevere and to be to the point where we could survive, man. It was hard for us to go to school and go through some of the bullying, shame, man, and being mistreated. But, we stuck it out, man. I think that's what made us stronger, man. A lot of kids now like to cop out by getting guns and weapons and try to hurt people, man. I know the verbal and when people probably put their hands on you and rough you up, that hurts, man. The verbal just as well, but when it comes to getting a gun and taking people's lives, man, innocent people, and you got to think about them and their mothers, their parents. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Because the upbringing right now is just to the point where they want to handle everything by just getting guns and shooting everybody. Some of them get to the point where they'll shoot everybody and shoot themselves. It's just really a travesty, man. And I just hope that the parenting and all can do better in this situation.
Like I said, we just got to do better overall. And of course, we'll talk about that more on my show known as Get Off My Lawn Live. We, of course, want to shout out the rest of our partners here in the Nighthawk Network. Before we go, shows like, of course, Big Meech. Shout out to Big Meech for checking in this evening. We appreciate your contributions as always, Meech. Also want to shout out H2. Thank you for your contributions as well this evening. Your show, also known as Hey Bitches, will be on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Sorry, I'm having trouble here. There we go. That's now 8 p.m., not 9 p.m., by the way, for Hey Bitches Live. Shout out to my cousin, Dr. Marla Good, who has taken a little time away from doing her shows. We will discuss with that soon as when she may return with those shows. But both her shows, Monumental Moments and God's Word and No Weapon Form, have taken a little hiatus, but she should be back soon. Let's talk with Aunt Nikki. Shout out to Aunt Nikki. Still need to get in touch with you, sis. When you see this, please call me when you can. Stan Mason behind the blue curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Shout out to Stan Mason and all the crew over there. The Girl Stop podcast. We are looking to see that 2022 as well. And of course, there's the Get Off My Lawn After Dark edition. My brothers in the room. I do want to do that show next week, the final After Dark edition for the year. If you guys are available next Thursday, can we do that 9:30?
Okay, I'm down with that.
All right. H2, let me know if you're still here or not. But yeah, basically we still got it going. And of course, we'll be back next Wednesday to talk more sports. Sports, because we both gonna do our homework, right? We're gonna do our homework, Hugh?
Yes, sir.
All right, because as always, want to give the people what they want. And speaking of giving the people what they want, talk about it, Hugh.
Y'all already know what time it is. Hit me up on Pure to the Game, and I'm gonna definitely try to do better as far as putting more women's sports on there too, man. If you have any questions or anything you want me to talk about, hey, just leave it with me, and I'll definitely try to get back to you as soon as possible. But definitely appreciate all the people who showing love right now and giving me the love and support that y'all have been doing, man. I'm gonna try to keep all the good information and keep all the hot topics out there. And like I said, if you want anything to add on there, man, hit me up, man. And I definitely do the best I could.
Bottom line is, you. One last thing. What happened to this dude?
Man, that dude been MIA, man. I haven't heard anything or anything, man. And I think that the team actually been doing well, man. And it seems like, don't you notice that I guess that's off their chest now, man. They can actually breathe. They can actually go ahead and go about their business without him, man, because he hasn't been relevant to them. And I just feel like with Joel Embiid coming back full strength and playing up to par, and just the guys around him, the team is going to do good as Joel Embiid do. And it's starting to show, man. It's starting to put an impact on them and that team. And I'm just glad to see that, man. And I'm glad that we're not even talking about this guy, man. We haven't talked about him in a while, and it makes sense. Just go ahead and trade that guy. Get a good piece on your team that'll add or a first round pick to go with it. But I feel like on both sides, they need to do better as far as the Sixers. To try to get a deal done, because all the stuff they was trying to get in on that King's ransom, I don't feel like he's worth it, and definitely not worth the distraction. So they need to just go ahead and make a deal and move on.
The WNBL, the Women's National Baseball League, H2. If that's what you mean, then no, it is not. It is not still in existence. There is a softball league, however, for women that is professional. That league does exist. Now, of course, if you're talking the WNBL basketball league, you know that don't still exist. But of course, we got the WNBA, so you know what that is. So yeah, so no, the WNBA basically is the WNBL for all intents and purposes. H2. That is that. We are talking about the league where Ann Myers and people of that nature play. He is a disappointment. I hate we share the same last name. Miss Simmons, I do understand, indeed. But remember, you're not Australian. You from New Jersey, so don't claim that weakness. WNBL has a 2022 season. Perhaps H2, they have gone to a semi-pro league. Again, we'll do some research. So, yeah, we'll do some research. We promise next week we'll at least have one segment where we talk some women's sports. We will make that commitment to all of you. You good with that, Hugh?
I'm game with that.
All right. So that being said, we're about to get up out of here because brothers got to work in the morning. But I appreciate Sports Guru for coming through doing his thing. Again, you did a good job last week, Hugh. I definitely want to let you know that. Look forward to seeing him do some more individual stuff in 2022. We got a lot of things up the pike. We definitely will talk about that in the weeks to come up to 2022. We got new seasons of Hey Bitches Live, season of hold on. About time. He all right. Look at your brother get on you.
You already know, man. It's because Dak Prescott a bum. You know, she tried to take it out on me.
And on that note, before we get too out of hand, let's head up out of here. What's the last words, Hugh?
Hey, man, I appreciate all the love and support. H2, you know I love you. Just, you know, all jokes. But at the end of the day, thank you guys for all the love and support, man. And I hope if you gang H2, you need to go ahead and bring it out with a bang, man. Do this last after dark.
But bottom line, y'all, is whether you're going to a sporting event, concert, whatnot, we still in the midst of full-blown pandemic. We got thousands of people here in Michigan alone coming up positive for the virus. Our hospitalization is worse than it's ever been since the pandemic. We are going in the wrong direction, people. For those of you that's not taking it seriously, when will you? When will you? Y'all know I love both of you and have absolutely. Love you right back, bro. You know what it is. But anyway, let's get out of here, man. Until next Wednesday. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bigo. Even though you can't hear me now because phone dead in the mud. But I appreciate all the love y'all gave me this week up until the phone died. And I appreciate all of y'all as well. Thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely.
To support us, and we appreciate you. So until next week, this is me, E. Beasy, and that's the sports guru, Hugh Lee.
Yes, sir.
For the usual hookup. I swear they move this thing around on me. I swear they do. All right. What if is that? Hugh, throw him up, dog. Throw him up. Don't go nowhere.